Yo, yo, what is up? I am the OG Millennial, and this is Millennial Nation Worldwide. We got some great stuff happening today. We're going to be having some great little interactions with some stuff that's happening politically, especially here in California, primarily, because we got governors that are debating each other. And it was interesting to hear the different viewpoints from these six people who were out there fighting for the candidacy of governor of this great state, California. And well, great in most people's eyes, I guess, not in everybody's eyes. But nonetheless, we have some NBA basketball news as well. We got the playoffs happening, and we are in the middle of the first round. And they've been exciting so far. I haven't been able to watch all the games, but I'm watching tons of highlights and games here and there. Like I watched the Spurs game today, and I would watch the Lakers, but unfortunately, the Lakers are playing on NBC, and I don't have regular television, and they're playing on Peacock. And I recently gave up that streaming services because they keep jacking up the prices on all this stuff, and it's a headache, right? So, um, I guess just to get briefly into the news, right? We could get into NBA playoff news. Victor Wembanyama has returned to the game of basketball. He was on the court today after entering concussion protocol because of that terrible fall that he had, where he cracked his head on the wood of the court. He was back today and brought his team, helped his team go 114 to 93. Yeah, and they now lead the series 3-1. So it's good to see Victor back from his injury. He is not the only one who is putting in work, though. LeBron James is also putting in that work, right? He is has the opportunity to today sweep the Houston Rockets in a Game 4 victory, and hopefully, that happens. Uh, and if that does happen, then we'll have a smooth transition into the next round, and I think we'll have a few more days rest while the other teams are playing to try and get to that next round as well. Um, and so he's averaging 25 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. LeBron James, he's putting in that work and helping carry the team along, even though we no longer have Luca, right? Because he's out, unfortunately, still with that injury. Um, some other news, some basic news, I guess, is some awards that were given out at the end of the season. NBA.com, they gave me some updates on the awards that they were giving out, and there have been a bunch of them, but I just took down a couple of them. For instance, Victor Wembanyama got Defensive Player of the Year. Shea Gilgis Alexander, right? SGA, man, just call it like it is. SGA, he got a Clutch Player of the Year. And we got Kendall Johnson got Six Man of the Year. And so those are some of the basic rewards or awards, rather, right, that have been given out. And as far as what we're looking at in the playoff standings right now, like we are at OKC and Phoenix 3-0. Oklahoma City Thunders is up 3-0. Lakers are up over the Rockets 3 games to 0. The Nuggets are over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's backwards. The Timberwolves are up 3 games to 1 against the Nuggets. Spurs are now 3 games to 1 against the Trailblazers. We got the Pistons down to the Magic, 2-1. Cleveland Cavs versus the Toronto Raptors. Cavs are up 2-1. Knicks and Hawks apparently are tied 2-2, and we got the Celtics that are still beating out the Philadelphia 76ers 2-1. And I'm not sure how late this was updated. I think this was about 11 hours ago, so it was definitely before the Spurs game. I don't know if these other teams have had, these 3 game teams have had their next game. They're probably playing tomorrow, though. So that's the NBA sports news that I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a nice little segment. Good luck, Lakers. Gonna win the whole thing, hopefully. And I guess just to carry on to some of that political stuff, man. Interesting stuff happening in California. I watched this debate, and it was a hour and a half long debate. The moderators were pretty good. I think it was like the dude who was on KTLA 5. I remember watching him on the news channels back in the day. I feel like um, there were 6 candidates altogether, 4 Democrats and 2 Republicans, and I had no prior history to any of these folks other than one instance of a interview that I heard Katie Porter have with another reporter who was interviewing her and asking her questions that apparently she asked the rest of the candidates, right? But before I get into that, I just wanted to give you guys like my insight to politics, right? I feel like I have a diverse viewpoint on politics because I've now spent time on both sides of the aisle. Growing up, most of my life, all the way until like my late 20s, I was a Democrat, right? First time I voted was for Barack Obama, right? And so I've always followed the Democratic Party's viewpoints on life, right? Um, and was in favor of their party because they seem like they care a lot, right? It was when I got into my later 20s when I started to learn and understand more about capitalism that I started to change my viewpoints, as well as some things that I heard the president say at the time. Made me jump ship to the Republican side. And I did that for, what was that? I guess it would be the Donald Trump, right? So I originally switched over to the Republican Party the first time Trump was going into office, but I wasn't voting for Trump originally. I originally was looking at Ted Cruz. I thought Ted Cruz was a smart guy. He sounded like he had a good idea of what was going on in America, and he was all about the jobs. And for me, at that time, this was like it was like 28, 29 or so, right? So this was like 15 years ago, and it was a very turning, interesting point because like it was the first time I hit the streets, right? Sleeping on the streets. And so I was looking for jobs and was struggling. And it was Barack Obama, as he was ending his term, talking about how a lot of the jobs that had left America because of the high taxes were never coming back, and that someone would need a magic wand to make these jobs come back to America. And so when I heard that, I just like, man, that's a terrible thing to say for people who are struggling. And it's just like the victimization hood. It seemed like for the Democratic Party, it's a lot of victimization and relying on them, right? And I was able to see that through viewing it through the other side's lenses in their eyes, right? So as a Republican, right, I started seeing some of the criticisms that the Democrats were faced against, and I thought that they were kind of true to an extent. But because these politicians are politicians, I found some of the Republicans to be jackasses as well, right? So I don't consider myself a Republican. I have to consider myself a conservative because the only reason why I'm on that side is because I'm for more me, less government. And that's the only thing that makes me have a stance in politics is the fact that I'm for me. I want to be able to create my own wealth and my own opportunities. I don't want to have to rely on the government to pass something to allow me to live a certain way, especially after watching the Hunger Games series and even earlier than that, the Star Wars series, right? So I have little conspiracy theories because I've seen both sides of the map now and they both suck. And so I feel like they're lying. It's just who's a better liar, right? So the best thing that I can do when it comes to trying to analyze these politics is just have a open mind as far as listening to one side and what they have to say and listening to the other side and what they have to say, and then trying to use my own common sense mixed with searching out and finding facts and truth are so I could get a generalized truth, and then I can make my own decision at that point, right? And so when watching this debate that happened between the governors this weekend, I found myself being kind of like torn because I related more to the Republicans and what they were saying as far as the California politicians need to be more responsible for the way California has been ran as opposed to the president. And all I heard the Democrats doing was blaming the president, Donald Trump, for everything. He was responsible for starting the fires and the electrical prices and everything, right? So I didn't hear solutions. I heard finger pointing. And I don't know how far that's going to go when you're trying to inform voters like me who have never seen you before, right? And know absolutely nothing about you. It's interesting too because there's this one lady named Katie Porter, and she, I'm gonna play the video that she had. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for it, but this is the video right here. I'm gonna play.
His second term runs out. The race is getting a lot of attention this week after a CBS News interview with the early frontrunner was posted online. Former Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter nearly walked out
when correspondent Julie Watts asked about
Yeah, so you're gonna see her
redistricting and what Porter
talking.
would say to the 40% of Californians who voted for President Trump.
We've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that,
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered
I don't
our
care.
follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation, which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And we're
Porter,
just going to circle around.
I am an
I have
investigative
never had to do
reporter.
this before, ever.
You've never had to have a
end an
conversation
interview.
with
To end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make.
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
All right.
I don't want to have
So
an
there you
unhappy
have it.
experience with you, and I don't want
This
to on
was
camera.
CBS News, right? CBS News. This was happened 4 years ago, apparently, right? This isn't something that just happened out of nowhere. And I'm proud of the moderators who were talking about it because, they brought it up. And it was good to see the moderators doing rebuttal questions, doing follow-up questions to some of their previous questions, to get better answers, because a lot of the times it seemed like they were kind of skating on their answers, right? So I guess right now I could give you I'm going to start off with giving you just the candidates themselves, right? So we got Tom Steyer, is a Democrat. We have Katie Porter, she's a Democrat. We got Javier Becerra, who is a Democrat and also used to be the Attorney General for California, apparently. We got Matt Mahan. He's like a mayor or something for, I think it was San Jose or something like that. And those are your Democrats. For the Republicans, we got Steve Hilton. And we got Chad Bianco. Right? And so these are the folks who we got running for candidacy. And they all have their quirks, I would say, right? Like each of them had a different viewpoint that kind of seemed to be the same as the rest of their viewpoints. And so, although it was good to see the people calling each other out, especially people from the same party, calling each other out, they missed the biggest front runner that they had, right? So the biggest front runner originally for California governor was Eric Swalwell. And he was actually involved in some allegations pertaining towards sexual assault. And that's what led him to step down from running for governor, right? So now we have the front runners, according to what I heard, is Katie Porter, and she's a Democrat. Tom Steyer, Democrat. Javier Becerra, Democrat. Matt Mahan, Democrat. Steve Hilton, Republican. Chad Bianco, Republican, right? Out of these 6, it's supposed to be Katie Porter who's the front runner. So you saw the video of her interactions, and you can generate your own viewpoints and thoughts based off of what you saw as pertaining towards her character. But I'm a little anxious and worried about her personally. I was going to talk about some previous governors. I'm going to save that for the millennial moment afterwards, though, because I wanted to talk about the candidates themselves, right? After listening to the questions that were asked, these were the questions that were asked by the moderators, right? So they asked questions about the gas tax, 61 cents per gallon, right? They asked about California insurance crisis. They asked about the electric vehicles. Should they pay taxes as well for infrastructure? They asked campaign strategies towards certain particular candidates. One of the ones was safe voting. They asked Chad Bianco, and he offered the one-party rule idea. And Matt Mahan had the question of AI concerns, and he claims that he would tackle the tech companies. So Javier Becerra, they asked him a question pertaining rumors, and this was in regards to Eric Swalwell. And so when they asked Javier Becerra questions about rumors, do you believe the rumors, and what are your thoughts on rumors, and yada yada yada, and he claims that the rumors aren't facts, right? So in a way he was kind of defending or deflecting at least for Eric Swalwell. But some other ones were they asked about candidates endorsed the front runners. Most of them said yes, all of them except for one. They asked about lower housing cost, questions for AI, right? They asked questions about social media. Should social media be banned for kids 16 and under? Was a big question and concern that I'm wondering about, right? So the other one that they asked that I thought was most funny was Gavin Newsom and his performance on homelessness, and all the Democrats gave him a B. So the Democrats think that Gavin Newsom has done a all right job, right? And the Republicans were more on the side of he's dropped the ball completely and has done a terrible job for California. And living in California as long as I have, I'd have to agree. Watching the changes in California over the last, I don't know, I've been paying attention to it the last 30 years, right? Since I was about 16 years old. And so I haven't seen great changes. And in many ways, it seems like things are just getting worse, you know? I did take some other notes too. It seemed like, so these are what I thought of the overall candidates themselves, right? I looked at them and I was like, all right, this is my general opinion. And this is just my own personal opinion, right? It's unbiased. Steve Hilton, I feel like he's a lot of talk, but I don't know about his actions, right? I don't know how much stuff he's actually done. And to be honest, when I hear him talk with that English accent, I kind of feel like, ugh, is this England who's telling me what to do, or is this an American telling me what to do, right? And that's a small problem for me. Tom Steyer, right? He sounds like Gavin Newsom. He looks like Joe Biden. And he talked a lot about being a billionaire and how he's a billionaire, but he's not like the rest of the billionaires. But I tell you what, he was wearing some Nike Air Maxes up there, and I give him credit for that. He's wearing a suit with some Nike Air Maxes. Everybody else is dressed to the occasion, right? Katie Porter seems like she'll destroy anybody who disagrees with her. And if she's the strongest front runner, I understand why, because she will destroy anybody who stands against her. And if she doesn't like what you have to say, she'll just leave. And that's where we are in society. Moving on, we got Matt Mahan, right? He personally, listening to him speak, seemed like he had very low to no passion and excitement. And I swear I felt like I was just listening to a robot, right? Someone who was there, he was reciting the lines. He kind of had eyes like I got right now, so he's probably stoned a little bit as he was doing as I'm trying to do right now. Bumble his way through a little podcast on streaming, right? Anyways, it seemed like a drone, you know, and Javier Becerra, right? So he's an attorney general. And in my opinion, personally, if you've been a part of California politics for the last 5 to 10 years, you're part of the problem. And so there's nothing he can say to me that's going to make me believe what he says, because he's had the opportunity to do so much already, and he hasn't done much at all, even though he was attorney general. And Chad Bianco scares me. He seems like a smart guy, though, but he's a cop. And so that scares me a little bit. But ultimately, I think out of hearing all of them, Chad Bianco is probably the way I would go. He seems like he's down to earth. He had no problem calling out the problems that real Californians like me are actually facing, right? And so I give him credit for that, you know. It takes a lot of guts to get up there and call out the establishment, especially considering that California's been a one-party rule for at least the last 20 years, right? So you do what you want. We're going to get into some news now about the overall politics of California governors in general, because I found some interesting stuff about that. And that is going to be right here. You guys take this time, like, comment, and subscribe, right? This is a long video. It's going to be chopped up into a bunch of smaller videos. Thank you if you're stuck around this far, right? Talking about important stuff here that's mostly not important, but kind of important. Okay, so we got, no, that was the wrong one. Let's see. We're going to go back here. Is this the right one? No, that one was wrong too. Is it on here? Maybe it was on here. Let's see. Maybe it was on here. No. No. All right, we're just going to get into it then. All right. So I gave you my thoughts on the candidates and the debate that happened today itself. Gavin Newsom. Okay, yeah, there we go. We talk about Gavin Newsom a little bit. So Gavin Newsom is currently the governor, and I've gone on here before and have mentioned how I'm not pleased with Gavin Newsom, our current governor, and because of that, I hope that he leaves and never comes back. And I hope he doesn't make presidency either. I took a pros and cons list, right? So here are some of the negatives I thought of Gavin Newsom and the positives that he's done at his time running California. Okay, so homeless problem and management, terrible. Management of Malibu fires and other fires, terrible. And it's not Donald Trump's fault because we've been having terrible fire problems since way before Donald Trump. Gas tax is up because of refineries closing down. It's not just Iran, it's because these are 2 refineries closed down and left California. And the new mileage tax, right? They want to tax me for driving my car. The only good thing I've seen them do is roads, and these roads are being repaired, you know, but that's why they say they have to raise our gas prices. So it's like a catch-22, you know, but they've been playing us for years, shorty. Like, if you look at the times that they've been running, like, okay, here's a millennial moment for you, right? Okay, here are the California governors over the last 40 years, right? It started off with Jerry Brown in 1975 through 1983. Jerry Brown, he introduced the bullet train that's supposed to get people from Los Angeles to San Diego. That still hasn't been built, right? We got George Dakmanjian from 1983 to 1991. Most millennials, if you're like me, you were an OG millennial and you were late single digits to early teens during this time. And you don't remember this fucking guy at all, right? I don't remember shit from this guy. But Pete Wilson came in there from 1991 to 1999. And I remember Pete Wilson because Tupac put him in a song, right? Gray Davis, he went from 1999 to 2003. Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He jumped up from 2003 to 2011. Went back to Jerry Brown again from 2011 to 2019. From Jerry Brown, we now have Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's been running it since 2019. I've been paying attention for the last 6 years. Our schools are getting worse. Rent is getting worse. Property taxes are getting higher. The price for food is getting higher. I did a study and a little rabbit trail leading up to this. Here are some scary numbers, man. I'm going to throw some numbers out there, man. For California, right? If you're a Californian, here's some of the stuff that you're paying for. And I tried to do this globally, right? So I didn't just look at one place. I looked at the Google monster, right? I had the Google monster do a search for me. There were 5 sites that came up. And of these 5 sites that came up, yep, here we go. It's right here. So these are some of the names of the sites that I got this information from. The Tax Foundation, right? New American Funding is another one. And also the California Globe, right? So public schools for California were ranked 24th to 30th in the middle. So we're not that great, but we're not number 1 either. Gas prices, we are the number 1 highest ranked for gas prices, averaging at $4.59 to $5.80 per gallon in 2025, right? In 2026, it's going up higher. College tuition, right? Public college is affordable, but the top tier are among some of the highest in the nation, right? So if you're going to USC, UCLA, Stanford, man, I don't know if Stanford's there or not, but those big prestigious schools like USC, your average people can't get in there. Anyway, housing costs, right? Among the most expensive states for housing, the housing tax rate is amazing too, because the housing tax rate for California is 35th to 36th. It's the highest nationwide, right alongside the working tax. We are 48 out of 50 when it comes to income tax at 13.3%. And we also have to pay federal plus state taxes. Food prices, I even looked up food. We have the third highest prices for food. Weekly, a family of four is spending $297 to $370 for food. Violence in jails, we are sixth overall as far as states when it comes to violent crimes, right? We're ranked sixth. And out of all of the people that we're putting in jail for these violent crimes, we have the second highest prison population in the country. Also for our farmers, right? Our farmers, Cali, were ranked number one, but they face terrible new regulations that are causing them to lose their land due to outsourcing. And most of that outsourcing is for those data gathering centers, right? That I guess are popping up all around America for these servers, so we could have this great internet access, right? So these are some pretty disturbing numbers when you look at California and the amount of people that are in California. The fact that we are among the most highest to live, paying the most taxes, and now we're even being taxed for the amount of mileage that we put on our cars just to drive to work, on top of paying the highest food costs. I want to hear some solutions. And after hearing these candidates running for governor, there was only one person who I heard a solution from that I kind of believed, and that was the Chad Bianca guy. The guy he's a cop, right? I don't even like cops like that, but he seemed like he had a vision. And the English guy sounded like he had a vision, but I don't know if he could back it. And then as far as the Democrats go, if the Democrats do happen to pull it out and maintain office for however long they maintain it for, then we continue to deserve everything that we get, because we've been having Democrats running California for a long time, and we weren't always the worst in some of these situations but after naming off all the places that we are lacking in when it comes to our expenses, keep in mind, man, Jerry Brown, Democrat, George Ducomani or whatever is a Republican, and Pete Wilson was a Republican. But then it went Gray Davis, Democrat. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger, Republican. But was Arnold Schwarzenegger really a Republican, or was he like really just an actor who got voted in because everybody loved his movies, right? If I were old enough to vote, I probably would have voted for him like people voted for Donald Trump, right? Because he's using his own money. And, but ever since 2011, right, it's been Democrat. So Jerry Brown put it down. Gavin Newsom picked up the ball and continued running with it for another 8 years. And 2011 is way before Donald Trump came into office, right? So after reading off this list of previous governors, right, going the last two being Democrats, and the last time a Republican was in office was in 2003, and that was Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Which he was married to a Kennedy, though, right? Like Marie Shriver or something like that he had Kennedy relations, and Kennedy is one of the backbones of the Democratic Party, right? So maybe he was just a face while other people were behind the scenes running the show. But ultimately, if you look at the last 2011 to 20, the last 15 years, Democrats have been running the country, or not the country, but the state of California. And that was long before Donald Trump got elected. So all of these people can say whatever they want about the current president. The fact is, when Obama was president, we were struggling. And when Joe Biden was president, we were struggling even more. And it's because Democrats have been running it for a long time now. And hopefully we get some change. If we don't get change, then we get what we deserve, right? And, to not close it out on just total negativity and scary fear tactics and shit like that, I'm going to try something different, man. I'm going to try and do like a, I don't know, man. I was going to do like a Bible passage or something like that, man. Maybe we won't. I'll save it for another time. This is a 30-minute clip, man. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Millennial Nation Worldwide. We need y'all to join the show, man. Join the crew, join the channel. Facebook, Instagram, all the same.